Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Main the Outspoken. And we are back live on Twitch for the first time in a little while. So if you're a returning viewer, welcome back to the channel. If you're a new viewer, welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. And today we're going to discuss Atlas once again. As everybody knows, we are in Season 10 of Atlas. New season started exactly a month ago, actually. I was surprised to read that today. Been 1 month. The season has now been active. Of course, we are in Season 10. Let me know in the chat if you've been playing Atlas this season. I've been playing on the official PvP servers. And just yesterday, it looks like the developers Grapeshot have announced a roadmap for the remainder of the season. Of course, you can read this for yourself at playatlas.com. Some new changes, it looks like, coming to Atlas. We'll give it just a moment here for the live stream to get up and running, see if we get some folks that want to join us here in the chat. But yeah, we're going to talk about Atlas Season 10 here. And let's see. So yes, this is the Season 10 roadmap. This is, of course, again, on playatlas.com. They're saying, you know, the season has begun. They are still planning for the full release of the game on the horizon. No official announced date for that. It looks like, you know, things are still kind of pending in that regard as far as a full release for the game. But it does look like it's on the way. It says their plans for the season include new additions and improvements to sea activity, the trading system, tame utilization, and single player. And they do acknowledge that there is some current frustrations from the community about focusing on new content while there are still existing systems and features that need fine-tuning and fixing. They say, fear not, though. We're getting closer to being able to focus their attention on bug fixes and polishing of existing content. The waters may be turbulent now, but the storms soon will pass, it says. Now let me know in the chat, you know, if you've been experiencing any issues or glitches or problems with the game. I mean, again, the thing we always have to remember is that the game is still in early access. You know, there's always going to be things changing and updates happening and things like that. So keep that in mind. I know I've seen a few issues like in regards to Xbox, for example. The Xbox players have been stating that they're seeing like a lot of graphical issues. Like when they pull their compass out, it looks all distorted, or maybe the tames look a little pixelated or distorted. So there seems to be some graphical issues possibly happening with Xbox. But let me know in the chat if, you know, if you're experiencing anything like that. I do play on PC currently. I haven't noticed, you know, any major issues on PC as far as like graphics and things. One thing I did notice though is when I play, I usually use that GeForce Experience app and run the game kind of like in an optimized setting mode. And I noticed just recently though, over like maybe the last week, when I do that, I'm getting like really strange graphical errors where things aren't rendering in, like rocks just aren't showing sometimes, and just strange things happening. So kind of wondering if other people are experiencing similar things like that. But that's all I've really noticed as far as like any like major issues. Now, of course, there are still things where people are saying they're having problems with various things, but it could be just on a per person basis. I'm not sure. But hopefully things will continue to improve. So here's what they're looking at for this Season 10 roadmap going forward. So they've shared this image here. It says they're going to work on some things for sea activity, which could include floating operating bases, factions, and modular ship improvements. They're also looking at changing some things to the trading system, including expanded sea forts, improved market UI, and physical trade ships. So that'll be cool. And some changes coming to tame utilization, it says. There's going to be a new swarm house, a tame barn, and better tame storage UI. And on single player, apparently we're going to have a choice of map. So when you load into a single player game of Atlas, you'll possibly be able to just, choose which map you actually want to play on. That's pretty cool. They're saying, obviously, to put it simply, Atlas is a pirate game, and player activity should focus on the sea and, well, pirating, they say. To that end, they're introducing new features to encourage leaving your home base, taking part in sea combat, and increasing conflicts with opposing players and factions. They do acknowledge that the modular ships aren't quite going the way they had hoped, and that they aren't really fully happy with them at this time, but they're looking to improve the artwork on them and how the sales work. And it says, though, that any major changes to the modular ships will likely not happen mid-season, if only to prevent any issues with the ships that were crafted prior to any changes. So, with that being said, it doesn't look like they're going to do any drastic changes to the modular ships this season in Season 10. Again, however, that's always subject to change. We'll have to wait and see. But it does look like they have some plans for the modular ships going forward. And maybe there's going to be some things changed. Hey there, Heisenberg. I see you've become a follower. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. The rest of you who are just joining us, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. We are talking about Atlas today, kind of just discussing Season 10 and the changes that have been happening in the game. So they're adding these things called floating operating bases, or FOBs. It says they will introduce a whole new strategic system into Atlas where players will be able to build temporary floating bases to stage their fleet. The foundation of the FOB will be a large square with a hollow center. Along each side of the foundation will be snap points for sea docks where players can have their ships docked and protected. The foundation will provide support for all structures placed on it or connected to it up to 16 connections away with no weight limits. And there will, of course, be limits on where the FOB foundations can be placed to avoid potential griefing. So, potentially new forward operating bases coming to Atlas. Pretty interesting. It says after the foundation is placed, the decay timer will start ticking down regardless of if the player is within render or not. There will only be a few instances where the decay timer can be extended. Once the decay timer reaches 0, the foundation will be destroyed. And as far as the decay on these FOBs, it says in island claim grids, the decay will be 36 hours, and it can only be extended if a war declaration changes the grid into a combat phase. Okay. And lawless, the foundation decay will just be 36 hours, and PvE specific, all foundations for FOBs will start with a 7-day decay timer, which can be extended by 12 hours for 5,000 gold, with no limit on the number of extensions. On PvP servers, FOBs can be claimed by other companies using a claim flag to capture the enemy ships. Ooh, that's kind of cool. And the flag can be placed anywhere on any structure connected to the foundation. If claimed, the ownership of all the ships docked in the seaports will be transferred to the new owning company. So, pretty interesting. Have to let me know what you guys think about that. All right, so let's continue on here for the Season 10 roadmap. So they're adding a factions system into the game, it looks like. It says, fighting against ships of the damned and ships from other player companies is fun and all, but the rewards for doing so can seem underwhelming. They're introducing a faction-based system that will be introduced to allow players to sail their ships under the flag of the faction of their choosing. And while they're still designing the specifics of that, You can expect to see ships from each of the available factions roaming the open seas, special faction-based rewards, and PvE questline progression. Says more information will be shared as they get closer to implementing those new features. So that's pretty cool. So that's something kind of I've been asking for a while. I've been hoping they were going to add like in some maybe, like enemy pirate ships or just something like that. Seems like that would be cool. So it sounds like they're getting a little closer to that. All right, and moving on here, it looks like they're adding some more tame utilization, it says. It says, while creatures and tames may not be the main theme of Atlas, they still play an integral part in the current gameplay. With that in mind, they're looking to improve how tames are being used. They, of course, have already added tame houses, the tame hatchery, and tame cargo railings to improve breeding and transporting of tames, but there's still more that they can do to improve their storage and utility. Now, personally, myself, I love the tames in Atlas. That's one of the things that's kept me playing the game and kind of got me interested in the game initially was, the whole taming system. What do you guys think about tames in Atlas? Let me know in the chat. But it does look like they're adding some more things in here. So it looks like they're going to add something called a Tame Barn. As while the tame houses and hatcheries can be used to simply store tames, their unwieldy size and limited capacity do not always make it an ideal choice. The new Tame Barn will be a new structure used for the sole purpose of storing mass amounts of tames, and tames within the barn will not reproduce or require food, they will simply be in stasis. Well, that's pretty cool. So basically, if you've got a bunch of animals on your island or whatnot, you can put them all into this tame barn, and it kind of just stores them away in like a tame vault, and you don't even have to feed them or anything else after that. They'll just kind of be there for when you need them. So let me know what you all think about that in the chat, but to me that sounds pretty interesting that they're adding a new tame barn to the game. Now, they haven't given an official date for any of these updates. It just sounds like they're just things that are coming throughout this season of Atlas or potentially in the next season. But this is just kind of their roadmap. They did call it a Season 10 roadmap, but we'll have to see if how much of this is truly implemented in Season 10. The next thing they're adding in is this thing called the Swarm House. It says it offers a way of obtaining new companion tames to be with an added benefit of passive resource generation. The Swarm House will provide the perfect habitat for bees, ants, bats, rattlesnakes, and mini crabs. Ooh. That's something that's not currently in the game. Mini crabs. What do you all think about that? That's kind of interesting. It says nearby wild tames of the acceptable type will be drawn to the Swarm House where they will be captured and tamed. Creatures tamed this way will not be rideable or breedable. So I don't know what that means exactly because, see, it's saying that it will passively generate honey, venom, nitro fertilizer, toxic flora, and crustacean meat. So, for example, like it tames a bee, like can you tell the bee to go attack something? Or does it just kind of become part of the Swarm House and then just generates honey after that? That's the part I'm kind of curious about. Same with, of course, like rattlesnakes and bats. If it tames a bat, are you able to then use that bat like in combat or anything? Or is it just part of the Swarm House and it then just becomes a fertilizer generator, I guess, after that? I'm not really sure. You'll have to let me all know what you think about that in the chat, like what you think that's going to be. But yeah, it looks like we've got a new Tame Barn and a Swarm House headed our way for Atlas. All right, so another update that's coming is focusing on single player. Because obviously their main focus is official servers, but they're not abandoning the single player aspect of the game or non-dedicated players. One of the main draws of playing in single player is the ability to play at your own pace. Official servers tend towards seasonal play with periodic wipes, of course. They have a limited time play feel, and they feel rushed to compete content. It may not be ideal for all players, of course. They're asking, so why haven't we been keeping the single player map updated? When we update the single player map, this causes all existing single player worlds to be wiped. While not updating the map for so long has saved players from many unwanted wipes, it also comes with the unfortunate side effects of many new features not being accessible or obtainable. Says that they want players to be able to access the current content without being forced to start a brand new game unless they choose so, and they want players to be able to play on the same map as the one used on official servers. So to do that, they're investigating ways on allowing players to choose what season's map they want to play at any given time. And one of the possible ways they're looking into that is free DLCs for each map. Now, whether that will be available to Xbox players and PC players, I'm not sure. I did notice on the Steam store recently, it looks like they have the Blackwood map on there now as like a DLC. I'm not sure if that's new. I'm not really familiar with that map. I've never played on it myself, but it was popping up as like a new thing on the Steam store for Atlas. I've heard of people talking about it before, but maybe this is kind of the first iteration of this whole new being able to choose what map you want to play on single player by offering the Blackwood map as a DLC. Not really sure, but let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you're a single player of Atlas, are you excited about this change? I know I've seen a lot of people in Discord commenting, why is it when I join single player, it's the old map from like 3 seasons ago or whatever. I'm not even sure which one it currently is. But I have seen people make that comment before that it's not the current map. So hopefully these upcoming changes, it'll allow people to choose which map they want to play without potentially losing all of their progress. Not sure. And of course, as a final note, they like to emphasize that they're still in early access, meaning things will continue to drastically change and all that good stuff. So again, this is their Season 10 roadmap post that was recently put on their website. Again, that's playatlas.com. You can head over there and read this update for yourself. But yeah, let me know in the comments and in the chat what you think of Season 10 of Atlas. Are you enjoying it? Are there some issues that you're experiencing maybe? Let me know. Overall, I've been enjoying it. I am kind of biased, though. I always enjoy Atlas, even through all its problems and bugs and glitches and stuff. I always still find a way to enjoy the game. But let me know what you're thinking about the game. Are you enjoying it? Are you excited about these new changes? I know the developers did do a Q&A session prior to this season, and they, emphasized that they are pushing towards a full release of the game. I think they mentioned that, there's possibly more ships coming, like as far as more modular ships and things like that. I'm definitely excited to see if they're going to add in some of these, pirate ships and just other things to fight out on the sea other than just the regular, ships of the damned that are currently in the game. Will be definitely nice to see more content. And at least they do acknowledge that obviously some people do get frustrated with the fact that they add new content without always fixing the current problems. But they are pushing towards a full release, so I think it seems like the goal is they're just trying to get all the content in there, fix it, and then they can do a full release. But what do I know? I don't work for the company, so I just play the game. Of course, I'm sure some of you have heard that there have been some players that have been getting banned in the game on the PvP servers. I'm not sure what that was all about or why they were banned. I have no idea. It seems like almost every season some team gets banned or something for whatever reason, but just have to follow their guidelines and play by the rules. So I know that caused a lot of uproar in the chats and things like that when that happened. So it's unfortunate. Nobody wants to see players, not allowed to play the game, of course. But then again, if they're breaking the rules, I guess, that's just the way it goes. So That was one controversy that kind of happened this season already that I've seen. A couple of different teams were banned. But hopefully, you know, let's see. The Malibus in chat says it would be nice to know the reasoning on the bans. Yeah, I agree. Because, you know, what if those players come back under another name or something? You know, you wouldn't want necessarily to be bringing people into your company that were banned, but maybe they were wrongly banned. I don't know. I mean, sometimes people must get caught up in those bans because they're just on the team. I mean, there's 75 players potentially on a team. If 2 people are cheating and 73 aren't, you know, unfortunately, the way it currently goes is all 75 players get banned. And that's unfortunate. But that's just the way that they are conducting their enforcement. And, you know, I don't really have an opinion on that either way. I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. But I agree. It would be nice to know why they were banned. I mean, was it, like you're saying, were they using third-party applications? Was it something they were saying in chat? I don't know. Yeah. If they're saying something in chat that's inappropriate, that breaks their code of conduct rules, yeah, unfortunately, it could lead to the entire team being banned. Now, I had heard supposedly there is like an appeal process to that. I don't know how that all works. I have no idea. But yeah, it's one of those things in Atlas that always causes a lot of commotion, and you know, people are very vocal about it, and it's unfortunate because the player base isn't huge as it is. So when you see, you know, an entire team of 75 players get kicked out of the game, that's very unfortunate because, again, this is just my opinion, but I doubt that all of those players were doing something wrong. Now, you could argue that if they're cheating or using some kind of software or whatever, that of course the entire team somehow benefits from that cheating. I understand that argument, but it's still unfortunate that everybody has to suffer because of the actions of just a few. So maybe they'll figure out a way to, you know, fine-tune that enforcement policy in the future, where maybe they can narrow it down to just banning the individuals who were doing the actions, especially if it's something like chat-related. You know, like if somebody's talking in chat and saying things that they shouldn't be saying, clearly you can see who that was. I would think it would be a lot easier to narrow that down. Now, if a team is using software or they're changing their files or whatever they're doing to try to gain an advantage, that might be a little more difficult. But I don't know. I'm not technical like that. I just started playing on PC this season. I was always an Xbox player prior to this, so I don't even know how people do all that stuff, and I definitely don't advocate for it, so... But it is unfortunate because, like you're saying in chat there, it knocks the morale of other companies as well. You see an entire team get kicked out of the game because one person said something wrong. It makes you like, well, why do I want to play this game if that could happen to me too? So I understand that feeling. But no, hopefully they'll definitely try to fine-tune that process, and maybe they can figure out a way to not ban the entire team, or I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You guys will have to let me know in the chat what you think about all that. It's certainly an interesting topic, to say the least. But yeah, so we've gotten this Season 10 roadmap. We're officially 1 month into Season 10 of Atlas. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, what you thought about Season 10 of Atlas. Are you enjoying it? Are you seeing things that you wish were different? It does seem like they've got a plan here based on all these updates that they're talking about. So that's good to see. They have been pretty vocal with the community. Again, they did like a Q&A session prior to the season starting and things like that. So, you know, overall, I have a positive feeling about the game. I think it's headed in the right direction. They just kind of need to fine-tune some of these things, like some of these graphical issues that are still happening. You know, there's just, oh, it seems like every time they add something in, something else breaks, right? Unfortunately, but hopefully that will change and things will keep getting better. All right, everybody. Again, feel free to say hello in the chat. Make sure you follow and like the channel if you haven't done so yet. Become a subscriber if you can. That would be wonderful. It helps me out a lot. And thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, thanks for becoming a follower there, Malibus. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely leave a comment on the video if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, and let me know what you think about Season 10 of Atlas. Alright, everybody, this is Main the Outspoken. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.